everyone, and welcome to another webinar here at Route Consultant, where today we're going to focus on bread routes. If you watched our webinar last week, you may remember that my name is Shelby Flanders, and I'm on our education team here at Route Consultant. That means my goal today is to bring you new information in the bread space and to continue to create a place where we can come together and ask questions. Format-wise, if you've been here before, you'll know that we're going to go over some content. We're going to go over some updates, and then if there are any questions at the end, we will leave time for a Q&A if anyone has anything. Your question can be about today's topic, it can be about last week's topic, or it can be about the industry as a whole. If you are watching our YouTube, you may not be able to ask us a live question, but you can send us questions. You can email us at info@routeconsultant.com. Or you can join our webinar next week as we're here every week. Now, if you do have questions today, and you can just put them in the Q&A at the bottom of the window, it's the best place for me to be able to see it and make sure that your question gets answered. If you put it in the chat, I'm probably going to miss it, so make sure it's in that Q&A section. If you've been following along with our bread webinar series, then you know our bread expert, Stephen. If this is your first time watching one of our bread webinars, I would encourage you to go back, watch the past videos after this, so that way you can get to know Stephen and the bread industry a little bit better. But what you need to know today is that Stephen's been in the bread industry for several years, growing his business and diversifying into different bakeries. And today, Stephen is here to help us plan for the busiest day of the year in the bread industry. So let's go ahead and have Stephen come on. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Shelby, great to be back with you.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. This is a really fun topic because the busy days are, revenue driving days. And so we want to be able to know how to plan for those, prepare for those, take care of business on those days. So let's just start off with the biggest question, probably. What would you say is the busiest day of the year? Are there peaks in the bread business?
Yeah, great question. So in the bread space, as we've talked about before, you're going to see lots of highs and lows. As you know, there are seasonal drivers, weather events, and holidays, promotions. So you're going to find that Thanksgiving, Super Bowl Sunday, those are kind of the big real drivers in the grocery space, but not to leave out, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, and any other holiday special promotion that might be going on in the store. Some do things like Italian days, some do Latino days. And so, the store is going to be themed to different flavors, if you will, but your major drivers, your biggest ones are going to be Thanksgiving and Super Bowl. And those are distinctly different. So Thanksgiving, of course, everybody's gearing up for the big meal, right? And so that's going to be stuffing mix. That's going to be dinner rolls, where Super Bowl, just a few months later in February, everybody's, snacking out. So it's chips, it's dip, it's sliders, it's finger foods. And all these are really big drivers in the grocery business. So it's important to think about these, plan ahead, and make sure that you know what you're going to do, what you're going to promote, and how you're going to service your stores.
Yeah. And then I know you mentioned even, some of the summer holidays. You've got your grilling holidays, right? Like Labor Day, Memorial Day, the 4th of July, different things like that. You've got different types of products there that are important. So major holidays, major get-togethers, those seem to be the type of days that we want to watch out for as peak days, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is when, big suits, regional managers, they're walking the stores. They're looking to see that contractors are maintaining in-stock conditions, that we're executing on nationally planned promotions, as well as, looking for opportunities on our own. So products that regionally may be doing really well in a certain store that may not be doing well on a national basis. Things like we used to carry party rye in the South, and that was, a Christmas item where, people were hosting, Christmas events. It's this small little, rye bread that, works perfect for finger foods. So that's something that we don't carry, year round, but it's a seasonal event. And it's not something that is planned nationally. So it's not going to be a national promotion plan. But it's things that you want to look for as an independent bread owner that can really drive your volume, give you incremental sales, and then of course build the equity in your business.
Yeah. And I know we just touched on holidays, but I think you almost said the word storm, and it made me think we just had a storm here in Tennessee yesterday. But like snow days are going to be busy days too. So you got to be weather aware, watch out for those types of things when people go get all the ingredients. What my dad says for French toast, they go get bread, eggs, and milk, right? So they're going to be using your products those days as well.
Yeah, and those are a lot harder to plan for, of course,
Yeah.
weather events, snow scares. If you're watching the weather and you know that there's, a big cold front coming in, school's going to be canceled for a week, bump your orders. It's way easier to be ahead of the problem than behind it. So if you have extra product, there's always going to be someone at the depot that needs extra that you can transfer off, but you can never under order in events like this. Nothing looks better than walking in and finding the bread aisle wiped out and you still have product on the shelf. So that really makes you stand out.
Oh yeah, that's got to be an awesome feeling. Okay, so how do we plan for these days when we know they're coming? So it's the holidays. We know the holidays coming. How do we plan for these to make sure we're able to be successful?
Yeah, so start early. You're going to have promotional planners that are going to come from corporate that are going to lay out what's on sale, and you're going to have those at least 8 weeks in advance. So plan ahead with your grocery managers. Let them know, what you have on sale, and they're looking for value. So if you have a product that's say 2 for $5, where across the street at a competitor it's 2 for $6, really highlight that. Everyone's trying to win customers from their competition, and so you'll find someone much more likely to put out a much bigger display if they know that across the street, it's $1 more expensive. So plan for that, order early. Know that most bakeries are going to have accelerated order calendars. And so what that means is if you normally order, say, 3, 4 days in advance, that may be bumped to 7 days to give the bakery enough time to produce the amount of bread that they need for this holiday. I'll tell you, I have missed the accelerated ordering calendars before, and I've got caught without product. And so, as a policy, when I go into the holidays, I order at least 2 weeks in advance, as long as it's open, and then I adjust as I get closer. So I always want to make sure that I have an order in there. Again, it's always easier to be heavy leading into the promotion, transfer it to some other guy, put it out in the stores, and really sell through it, than to be, caught without it. So planning ahead, knowing what's on promotion, knowing where it's on promotion is really critical.
So you can have an order in the system ready to go and adjust it up until a certain date.
Absolutely. So up until the close time, you can adjust that. And every manufacturer is going to be different. The handhelds are going to be a little bit different. That policy may be the ability to change your order may be something that you have to call into customer service. But most handhelds will allow you to modify an order up to the close time.
Yeah, and it's better to just have something in there than to not have anything at all. So I just kind of had a question about that as well. It brings me to it. If you are in the middle of it, it's here, Thanksgiving is here, and you're selling out and you need more product. Is there any way to get some more? I know in the past we've talked about maybe talking to other, contractors, but is there a way to kind of work through that? Does the bakery have some on hand ready to go for those big holidays?
Yeah, so this is a great question. It depends on what it is. So moving into Thanksgiving, Pepperidge Farm, Bimbo, they sell a lot of dry stuffing mix. So if it's a product that has, a 6, 8, 10 month shelf life, most likely it's warehoused somewhere and maybe it gets transferred from a depot in Memphis. Maybe it gets moved from Louisville, within 6, 8 hours. They can usually be pretty nimble with product like that. Fresh bakery product, something that's baked, it's a little harder to get your hands on that. Most of the time, they're going to open your order calendar to some delivery days that you wouldn't have previously. So let's say, for example, that you get a truck from the bakery on Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They may open up a Tuesday or a Wednesday order depending on how the holiday falls. So this kind of brings us into, planning for promotions and thinking about, the sales drivers throughout the week. So if we know Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, and we don't normally get a truck on Thursday, I may want to get extra on Monday. And if Wednesday opens up, I'm going to get what I would normally get on Thursday on Wednesday, a day early, knowing that as soon as that holiday is over, sales really tank. So I don't want to come in with a normal order on Friday, expecting the same volume. The weekend after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, everybody's shopping, eating leftovers, traveling. It is the slowest week in the grocery business. So you'll have this huge lead up, this huge ramp up where you can move product around, you can communicate with your district managers, get product transferred, make sure the stores are full, but then coming out of it, it really slows down. They want, displays taken up so that the store can be rethemed for Christmas.
Oh yeah, got to do that holiday turnover really quickly,
That's
huh?
right.
So when you're preparing for these days, what do you need to know heading into them? We're talking about planning, for the ordering, but are there other aspects to making sure that you're prepared?
Yeah, be aware that, it's really going to get busy 3 to 4 days before the holidays. So speaking specifically about Thanksgiving, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is just nuts. And so planning for that, knowing that I need to get out maybe earlier than I normally do, maybe going back at prime time, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've done things in years past where I've actually gone out the night before. I've gone out at 8 p.m. so that, at 4 a.m. the store looks great. If I'm traveling, I have someone come behind me and work back stock for me. I can plan ahead with my orders, and kind of work into my schedule how I service the stores. Again, you can't substitute service, and so it's always important to make sure that someone is there. Doesn't always have to be you, but planning ahead is big.
Yeah, so it may take multiple trips on these types of holidays, right? But that means more bread flying off the shelves for you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, companies like Sara Lee, they sell a lot of dinner rolls. Companies like Pepperidge Farm,
Mhm.
Bimbo, they sell a lot of dry stuffing mix, sometimes by the pallet. Pepperidge Farm, as we've talked about before, offers a cross-docked product. So they will build stuffing pallets. They will direct ship it to the stores, and you'll make a commission on it without ever touching it. So you need to just make sure that it gets rotated around. I've had stores in years past where they put a stuffing display all the way up front by the checkout registers, and it just doesn't get any traction there. And so I'm constantly pulling it from there to the shelf or to another display that's in a fantastic spot. So it's important to be there. That's what I'm trying to convey, as you're working around the holidays, moving it around.
Yeah, I love you said it flies off like by the pallet sometimes. I don't know. I love watching around that time of year, Thanksgiving. I know one time they had a time lapse of like a pie table and just filled with pies at the start of the day. By the end of the day, it was 100% empty. And that's how it goes in this industry, right? And that's why you've got to do the multiple drops sometimes to make sure that you've got your shelves filled. People can get what they need. You can make more revenue. So we talked about what the bakeries kind of can help with this as far as, making sure that you've got what you need. But what other ways do they help? Do they help in other ways during this season? I mean, this is their big season too, right? So they want to be supportive.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is going to vary depending on, the district, the relationship you have with the district manager. And if, there are managers available, sometimes, managers may be covering routes if they are short-staffed on people. But most of the time, a district manager is going to be out there. He's going to assist in working back stock or pulling up if he's willing. They're going to give you historical data. They may say, last year you sold X, and so we're projecting a 9% ramp up. And so I would recommend ordering this much, but then the ordering is really up to you. So it's going to depend, have that conversation with either the district manager or the guy that's selling the route so that you know what to expect, do your own due diligence. But know that you can find support from either contract employees, working with other people in the store, that maybe could work some backstock for you on days that you're not coming in. Um, and then know that the district manager is there to serve you as well.
So if you're a first timer, it's your first Thanksgiving as a bread contractor. Do they give you the information from the previous bread contractor in that area?
Yeah, they should be able to pull the historicals and show how many units, the hot sellers are going to move. Of course, it's up to you. And so I would encourage you as an owner to be in your stores frequently, learn the promotions, learn the sales flow. And as you get through 1, 2, 3 years of this, you'll have a really good understanding of when it hits, what stores hit more than others. And it will allow you to then hire someone to cover time for you or bring on an employee and teach them what to expect. This is really where job security makes me feel good about owning these businesses because it's hard to manage this. There's big fluctuations, but companies really want to make sure that the product is there for the customer. And so that's the value that we bring to both the bakery and the retailer.
Yeah, because you're walking this fine line of they don't want to be out, but you don't want to have a ton of stale. And so the ordering gets easier as you go. But for that first time person, there are ways to kind of help them get through that. Do the grocery stores, is there a way that owners should approach the grocery stores differently on these days? I mean, maybe even do they, talk to the managers a little bit more? How you said working on those promotions, different things like that.
Yeah, so kind of like we touched on earlier, know that you need to put your best foot forward. If you have product that's on sale at a deeper discount than others, if you have IRCs, these are individual redemption coupons, that you want to utilize to try and get a better display. I'm going to offer you this. It's at no cost to you. It's going to bring the cost of this product down by 50 cents a dollar. If you move this display to this better position. So I'm showing value to your customer who is coming into your store and allowing you to hopefully sell more product than someone else.
And I think too, we've talked in the past, is there's some sort of data, I think basket ring data that helps in this
Basket
sort of.
ring. Yeah, so this is a great point. So if you have basket ring data from your home bakery, so this is something that is tracked analytically from a corporate level. And so they're going to look at, let's say, for example, if you have stovetop stuffing in your bag, the average ring may be $100 per basket. But if you have a premium product, a Pepperidge Farm, a Bimbo, stuffing mix in your basket ring may be $140. And so that data is going to show the premium customer to the retailer. And if you can attract them into that store, as opposed to the store across the street, either by a better price or using those IRCs, those individual redemption coupons, that's another real big value adder that you can utilize to get better display space.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's what we want, right? People to come to the store, and then the managers love that, right? The stores love that. So that way you're providing value to their customers, like we said. So you're ramping up, you've got all this product in the stores flying off the shelves, and then holiday's over. What does it look like the day after the busiest day?
Yeah, it's quiet. So know that, coming out of the busiest day, this is typically when stores are going to strip their floors. If they're going to re-wax their floors, they're going to want displays pulled off. So the day after, like we've talked about before, you don't have to be there, but make sure that someone that knows what they're doing is, so that you're not going to be in their way. Typically, the store manager, the grocery manager, these people are going to be off for the weekend. And so it's going to be a overnight crew that's working a shift they're not familiar with. So make sure that you're not in their way. Make sure that, the product's cleaned up. Again, they're going to tell you we're not a warehouse. So if you have a lot left over, buy it back, take it to another store, move it around. And if you're out of sight, out of mind, you have a good relationship with these managers.
Do you ever go like the night of the holiday to clean it up, or you've got somebody doing it, but have you ever, like when you were starting out, gone the night of yourself to get it all ready for them to move everything out?
I used to go on Wednesday night. Speaking about the week of Thanksgiving, I would go Wednesday night. So I would, work back stock Wednesday morning early, before the stores get so busy. It's hard to move, your cart through with product. Stay out of their way, be aware that, customers are going to need to move down the aisle, and everybody's frustrated around the holidays. Traffic is a mess. So I would go out really early on Wednesday. I'd go out late Wednesday night, and then I would take Thursday off.
Okay. Yeah. So at least you're able to hang out that day with your family, but you've got everything prepared. You've taken care of everything to make sure that it's ready to go. Okay. I think anything else that maybe we should know about that we want to add? I think
I would just say, make sure you know your store hours. So some stores are going to close, not many, but some stores may close on Thanksgiving. Some may be open shorter hours. Some may be open longer hours if they're not already open 24 hours. So know what days customers are shopping.
And can you ever go into, are your hours the same as their open hours, or can you ever go in, like, is there a window of time where you can go in maybe before the store opens?
Yeah, you can always get into the store when they're closed. Either the overnight crew will let you in, but most of the time the back door receiving is going to open 3 to 4 hours before the store does.
Okay. That's something I never even really thought about. So that's interesting to know, but yeah, knowing the store hours for your customers is important too. Okay. Well, I think that covers that piece for us today. Thank you for coming on and explaining the busiest day of the year, busiest days, and the days after, right? It's really important to know how to prepare for those days to make sure that you get the most of that revenue. That's going to propel you, into your year. We have a few new listings that I want to go over for everybody watching. We've got one in Western New York. If you're interested in that area, it's one route at $20,000, putting it at 4.61% of revenue. It services 15 accounts weekly for a weekly revenue of $8,351. Southern Missouri, if you're interested in that area, we've got one route at 160,000 with 16,678 in weekly revenue. They service 29 accounts weekly. Then if you're in Central Florida, the Sunshine State, we do have one route at 130,000, which does almost $6,000 in weekly revenue, and they do 6 accounts a week. And lastly, if you're in Central Georgia, go Dogs. We have one route. It's listed at $190,000 with a weekly revenue of $7,579. That was a really good weekly revenue there for a second, but it's still a really good deal. And of course, if you're in Central Georgia, that's a really nice spot to be in, servicing 8 accounts a week. So if any of those sound interesting to you, please reach out to our team, info@routeconsultant.com, or you can find it on our website and reach out to us there. And if you as a viewer after this webinar have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at that email, info@routeconsultant.com. We also have a lot of other learning avenues for you to check out. We've got our 101 on our website. We have a new investor summit where you can do the course online and then come in and see us here at Nashville, and we'll help you through the process. Any questions you have. The new investor summit is kind of like a sampler platter where you get a little bit of all the information you need to know, yes, I want to continue on down this path, or no, this is not the path for me. And it's worth being able to get that education before you go too far down a path and realize you've gone too far and you don't like it. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And thank you again, Stephen, for being on here today. It's always a pleasure talking with you about the industry.
Thank you, Shelby, and everyone else. We'll see you next week.